Today we're going to make some pumpkin fries. I'm about to pull them out of the oven. Let's see how they look. Okay, I just pulled them out of the oven. You can see them there, all cut into fry shapes. Okay, now it's time to try it. So, you notice they're not really that firm, not really like a conventional fry. They're sweet, almost cantaloupe-like. But I'd say if I went to a restaurant, I wouldn't order these. Instead, I'd just go with the typical fry or sweet potato fry. I think these are best made into like a puree and made into either a soup or like a pumpkin pie or something you would typically see with a pumpkin used. If you're curious about cooking pumpkin fries yourself, all you gotta do is cut them up like you would fries, and then take it and put it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then when they're soft enough to touch and to the touch, and you could bite right through them, that's how you know they're done. If you're looking for seasonings for this dish, I recommend on the savory side, put some like butter on there. If you want it spicy, you can put some cayenne, maybe a little bit of like dried ghost pepper. If you are on the sweeter side, you can put a little bit like brown sugar on it, some butter, and maybe some maple syrup in there, give it a little bit more complexity. Even though this experiment didn't really work for me, there are some potential ways you can make it work. One that was suggested online was to take the pumpkin and soak it overnight in water and to break down the starch of the pumpkin, but I don't really think that's a viable option, and that's mostly because pumpkin doesn't have that much starch in it to begin with. It's not like potatoes or fries or something like that. I think your best bet would be on a very low temperature, maybe 150 degrees, 200 degrees in a convection oven, drying out the pumpkin as much as possible. That, or just using a food dehydrator, partially dehydrate it. And then right after that, just take that pumpkin, put oil all over that pumpkin, and then at a real high heat, then crisp that pumpkin up. Perhaps even putting some kind of flour or breading along the outside of it could also help to create a firmer, more texture filled pumpkin. Another topic that you may be interested in is the tasting notes and the texture. So for the tasting notes, I came up with a couple. It's cantaloupe sweet. You get a slight pumpkin flavor. It's not going to be as intense as, say, like a pumpkin spice ice cream, pumpkin pie, or a pumpkin soup. As for texture, as you would have saw with the piece I ate during this video, it was together, but at the same time, it was a little bit mushy once bit into, and then if it's cooked a little bit longer than that, it just turns to a very mushy dish, and it's better just to be turned into puree than after. In the future, I will also do some pumpkin dishes. I'm looking to do a pumpkin terrine in the next up and coming weeks.